everyone, and welcome to the Alberta Freemason podcast. I am Dave Boutilier, and today we're doing something a little different. For you loyal listeners, we thank you for your patience while during this extended break we took in between episodes. And if you're new, welcome. This episode, we'll be doing two one-on-one interviews with both of the brothers who have been generous enough to put their names forward for the 2026 election for the position of Junior Grand Warden, Kurtis Frederick and Jerry Waldern. Now, I interviewed both of these candidates separately with the same questions, and our editor, Preston Meyer, has spliced their answers so that they're side by side. So, with the magic of editing, you'll hear me ask the questions, and then each of the candidates answer. However, because they weren't together, they have no idea what the other person said. Without delay, let's get on with the show. All right, Jerry, thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate your time, and welcome to the podcast. I'm going to start with our first question. Can you tell me a little bit about the you that the brothers don't see?
Well, thank you for that question. So I guess what the brothers don't see about me is probably my work ethic or the resilience to get the job done on time, the willingness to stay and accomplish the task and see the task get done all the way through. I would say that I probably work well under pressure. I'm passionate about learning new things in life. And one of my passions in life is working with young kids in their society, finding a connection with them. I've found that connection in my youth group that I teach, and even taking up hobbies like gardening or I don't know. I don't really have much of a green thumb, but trying something new with new plants. That's about it. Really, I wouldn't say the brothers know about me. The brothers seem to know a heck of a lot about me already. I'm very outgoing and forthwith to everybody. So,
Well, Kurtis, thank you very much for joining us today. I appreciate you giving us your time. I know it's at a premium. So we're going to
Absolutely
start the
happy to be here.
interview. Oh, go ahead.
Absolutely happy to be here.
We're going to start the interview with just a basic generic question. Can you tell me a little bit about the you that the brothers don't see?
I would say that I'm fairly active within the lodge, and what happens with that is I seem loud and kind of everywhere. What I really prefer is a nice quiet evening, spending some time around the campfire with friends, family. We got a great Shriners campground in Calgary. I love spending time there. Been there a long time. I love running out to the mountains, getting away, going out to countryside, basically getting out of town as much as I can. And honestly, one of my favorite things, and I'll put it up there in my top three things, is I love grabbing breakfast. There's a brunch we do a bunch of us at a club in town here. And let me tell you, it's great to see friends, family, brothers. My family life over my lifetime hasn't been as strong as a lot of other people. So I really enjoy that I've found some wonderful Masonic family. That's helped out a lot. So those are some of my favorite things, but at the end of the day, whether it's around a campfire or table, I really enjoy some good conversation and visiting. I get to do some fireworks from time to time. It's one of my side gigs. I love blowing stuff up. So I get to do that for fun and get paid for it. So that's kind of one of my favorites. Other than that, run my company, and because it's my own renovations company, I quite enjoy it. Work with my best friend every day. Honestly, life's pretty nice. I got a great lady and a couple of her boys that are now part of my life. So when you add it all together, it's a really nice little life. So that's what I got.
What led you to let your name stand for the Grand Line, and how has your Masonic journey shaped that decision?
I was at a Royal Arch meeting, and what happened was a well-known past Grand Master, who's a good friend to all of us. He came up to me and said, "What are you doing for the next 4 years?" That was the only question he had. Asking my business partner, my lady, asking a whole bunch of people, my mentors, my friends, some close brothers to me, and just going, is this something you'd support in my life, knowing how busy I am and the things that I do and whatnot? And across the board got a resounding yes. The things that led to that decision, or how has my Masonic journey shaped that decision? From day one, I decided I was going to be when I decided I was going to be a Mason, I got into Freemasonry to do Shriners, wanted to volunteer, sped through, got into the line. Within 5 years, got to be Worshipful Master, and then a whole bunch of other stuff. Joined a bunch of clubs and groups and Shriners and Royal Arch, and just had a lot of fun along the way. I think the decisions that have shaped this is I've consistently been asked to be a leader, and I've consistently enjoyed working on my skills. Could I have done this job 10 years ago? Absolutely not. Like it's something you have to work towards, grow into, knock a lot of the rough edges off, and I had my own rough edges to knock off. So getting to where we are today, I think it's been a great journey, supported by so many great mentors and brethren that have been a part of my life that have become like uncles and friends and family and cousins and nephews. Oh, it's the people helping me get there. And that's been a ton of journeys and a ton of struggles, a ton of successes and failures along the way. So one of the things that really led to me to where I am today, I would say, was the journey through lots of provincial-based leadership, including in the Royal Arch, where I'm now doing a similar role. And it's been going well. And I think with that success, it's shown me that with a lot of help, my leadership has gotten a little bit better. So with a lot of help, I think we can get there together.
Well, that's a great question. For many years, I've been thinking about running for the Grand Line. Had lots of discussion with many brothers throughout Alberta. And a lot of those brothers have encouraged me and supported me to run. I have served my own craft lodge a few times now in the East. As this year, I'm sitting as my fourth time. And I've always felt that there is more for me to be able to give to not just brothers in my lodge, but to the craft in general. I've also always believed in serving not just the craft, but even my church, my community, friends, and loved ones in whatever capacity that is needed out there. My Masonic journey started over 20 years ago for me, but I would say it even goes further back my father and my grandfather, plus a couple of uncles, were Masons, and I watched them when I was growing up to see what kind of men they were and what shaped them. And I felt that was a great aspect in life, and I believe that has shaped them and who they are today. For me, I believe it has shaped me to be a better man, definitely a better father and a husband. I'm more patient and understanding, and I have a lot more self-discipline when it comes to making decisions and with people in life that are out there. So I feel that this is my time to run for the Grand Line, and I feel that I'm ready and able to do that.
What challenges do you see within the jurisdiction today, and how have your experiences shaped the way you think about them?
Well, I believe that there's actually a few challenges that I see in our lodges and our jurisdictions today. One, I would say, is our membership and the retention. It's one thing to bring a new member, but another is to keep them active and involved. Our lives are busy with work, family, and other commitments that we need, and we learn to adapt. And given the time, commit to finding a way for Masonry to be part of our regular lives. I would say that would be for the new and the old brethren. When I knocked on the door, I was seeking something for myself. I was engaged to finding out what was about the organization and what Masonry was all about. And I found what I was looking for. I believe we need to keep growing and doing this with fellow candidates and brethren. The other challenge I do see in Masonry, and this also aligns with the first challenge that I see, and that we're not always wanting to accept new change. A lot of our lodges are found upon traditions and the way things were done in the past. And for maybe a new brother who's coming into a lodge, they're looking at maybe contributing and giving in a new way or doing something different. And maybe the new tradition is what we need to be looking to provide to our new brothers. There also can be an internal tension between tradition and adaptation. Some members feel strongly about preserving ritual and established practices exactly as they are, while others will advocate and thoughtfully modernization, experiencing trends to teach that both instincts come from a good place. And that progress usually works best when it respects the core principles while allowing practical evolution. My experience has shaped me to think that we have to be willing to adapt and changes that we progress in Masonry, but also respect the traditions that we were brought into.
A lot of the challenges I'm seeing today stem from a few different areas. I'll share my thoughts on the indifference of brethren that don't attend lodge. When you call a brother that hasn't been there in a long time, we've all gone through this. We've talked to multiple brethren and said, "Why aren't you coming out anymore?" And then you have to take their answers. And a lot of the time, well, if we did this and this and this, would you still come out? So it's finding a way to kind of get that going, to get that conversation back up and running. I've had a number of people ask, could we do a community poll? Could we send out something to our guys? I said, absolutely, but you're going to have to call each one. It really comes down to a personal connection, I think, is kind of how you're going to get there. I know that that's helped me. A lot of brethren in the past, some of the guys so for example, in the Shriners, they disappeared and then we called them and had them come back. And what it was a personal connection. I find that brothers come back when they feel connected to their lodge, the Shriners, Royal Arch, their chapter, their Scottish Rite, their whatever they're in. If they feel connected and feel like they have a connection to see their friends and whatnot, it seems to be one of the best ways to come out if they're going to be engaged and learn some fun things. So I think to me, that's one of the bigger problems. Another one I would share is just looking at our committee structure and the way the province is run, and a lot of our boards, they need some direct attention. And what we've done in a couple of other organizations, in the other one that I'm majorly involved in the leadership, we talked about how do we get this moving forward. And what we did is we picked two of the boards, and that's kind of my favorite things is just get everybody to dogpile onto like a couple problems and work on those, and then next year we'll do a couple more. That's steady enough. You can see marked improvement across the whole system. So it's nice to see. So I think those are the two challenges I see is we're maybe not some more effective management and leadership, and then of course reconnecting and getting our brethren and our lodges stronger.
There has been a noticeable shift in lodge membership from rural locations to more urban centers. What are your thoughts on the role Grand Lodge can play in supporting the long-term viability of all lodges in the jurisdiction?
The Grand Lodge to support those smaller rural lodges. I mean, we all know that down the common corridor of the province, with the exception of like Fort Mac and Grand Prairie and a couple of the outliers that are stronger with maybe more lodges, a lot of the lodges are kind of islands to themselves. So I think Grand Lodge can support them by continuing to show up. Also, a lot of great ideas are coming out in talking to them, not only within the lodges, but within the chapters and the shrine clubs, is about how to do things better together. So we've seen a lot of people put out ideas, and I've heard quite a few recently. When I was up north, one of the guys had said, we want to start moving our charter between multiple locations because we have members in 3 or 4 different towns. So they're looking at a way to do that and set up 3 little lodges. And some of the equipment could be duplicated. We've had some lodges and some chapters and some other groups shut down. So there's this kind of bulk old equipment that's laying around, and I happen to have some of it. So we had a good conversation about moving some of it into one of these places so they can do that. So I think Grand Chapter can continue to support by strengthening them and also encouraging them to get together with their other brothers. A lot of the bigger lodges in the city tend to go out rural. We've been doing that down here for years. I know Edmonton does the same. A lot of the bigger centers supporting the smaller lodges, and that's great. You see visitors and meetings go when you get visitors from Grand Lodge, and it tends to draw more people out. So I think it comes down to some support and also helping them think outside the box, find some new ideas.
I'd like to think, or I'd like to believe that the Grand Lodge needs to be flexible with all of its lodges. We know that more people are moving to big cities and finding that urban centers are the places to be, raising families, employment, and other activities for their families. And rural lodges will often struggle because of this. I think we should look at utilizing the rural areas for having more functions to showcase these rural areas. We need to remember that these locations in these rural areas are the foundation of our jurisdiction, and that a lot of our membership came from those areas. Embrace their traditions and work with them to become part of the spotlight that they are known for. There are a lot of small towns that have a lot of Masonic heritages, and that we, your brothers, are missing out on by being in the urban center.
Service in the Grand Line requires a significant commitment of time and resources. How have you prepared yourself to meet those expectations over the next half decade?
Great question. The first thing is I did was not start this journey too fast. As I mentioned, I've thought about running for the Grand Line a few years ago, and I asked myself at that time, could I give my time? Could I give my commitment to moving the craft forward and working with the Grand Lodge? I first asked actually my wife what her thoughts were back then about me wanting to progress and commit for more time and giving more time to Masonry, and not just to my lodge, but to the Grand Lodge. I've also spoken to her lately, and I knew at that time I was ready to do so, but I also wanted to make sure that my family life didn't come second. My children have all now grown up and have started their lives, and honestly, they don't need dad all the time. When I look at commitment of time and resources, I look to my family and my wife and the support that they have given to me. I also look at the support that has been given to me from my lodge members, and I believe that this time for me to move forward and to give that time and commitment to the Grand Line and see that the members moving the craft forward.
It does require a lot of time and effort. I have a unique advantage, I believe, in the fact that I run my own business. So I have a great business partner who has committed to helping me get through this, and I have a lot of great friends, brother in trades, people that work with me, including my significant other, who has already experienced this with a family member going through a Grand Line. That talking about it, it seems to be that I've got a great, support staff, support system behind making that happen. As for managing the time, I manage a lot of time anyway. It's because there's so much to do. So if you're not great with your time, how could you manage going to 3 meetings a week and doing online meetings and getting together with brethren and running a life and family and kids? And I think if you can do multiple things, those are the kind of the best leaders I've seen. Most of the very active uh, brethren in the craft have always been the people that can do a lot. If you can switch your hat many times in a day, I think that's great. So how am I prepared to meet those expectations over the next half decade? It's really about planning, running a great calendar with my team, with my family. So we're already doing all that. We talk about the success of our family and our business groups is shared calendars, shared technology, shared to-do lists, so that we're managing it and getting through it. So you still keep time for family, for friends, for personal development, growth, rest and relaxation, as well as doing all the things that the brotherhood needs, keeping moving forward and helping everybody get there. So I think those are the things I would say about that.
What experiences, within or outside of Masonry, have most influenced your approach to leadership within the craft?
I think the experience that started off when I was very young would be, as I mentioned, like sometimes you don't have the best family, and you do find a lot of individual winners within the family. I was very lucky into having a great set of grandparents, and my grandpa was just a fantastic human being, big volunteer, helped with so many things. Wasn't a Mason, but encouraged me at the end of his life to go and do something more, be attached to something bigger, something I could do that I couldn't do on my own. I could be with more people and accomplish things and have fun and build a community. So that he basically said at the end of your days, when you retire, you shouldn't just sit down and give up. You should be busier when you retire or in your spare time, even in the weekends and evenings. He said you should never be comfortable sitting down watching TV all the time. So I took that to heart, and that's kind of the one that really started. Short of that, I've a lot of great brethren that helped me through some tough times in the last 20 some years. What happened was, I had a business that kind of went sideways, had a couple of terrible interactions with some random people in business and life that made my life harder than it needed to be. Some great brothers just took me by the side, and it was that education that you're going to be okay, you're going to be fine. And then all the enthusiasm of continually meeting new brethren. That's been a big part of Freemasonry for me. Work with the experience, take the advice when you can get it, and if it's advice you want to absorb, I love the brethren that say, take this, do what you want with it, hopefully it helps. And then I love the enthusiasm of meeting new brethren that come in fresh and eager, and you see the world fresh again. So it's a constant reset for me that's helped understand how I can lead and be a little better. So yeah, I think those are the ones that have kind of shaped where I am today. Shout out to two brethren from the past, Matt Livingston and Gord Brewer, both who are past, and they were so good in helping me get to where I am today. So they definitely were the ones that helped me knock the real rough edges off early on in the craft. So that's it.
I've been a youth pastor at my church. I've dedicated my time to the youth today. Today's youth are really looking for a purpose in life. And I felt that, leading the youth today has been a rewarding experience to myself, and has been a huge influence. To see these kids that I have taught 20 years ago making a difference in today's society and with their lives, it's a reward in itself. And having the patience to just listen to them and guide them and becoming the leaders that they are today. These experiences of having great relationships with them and my family have influenced me to becoming a better father, definitely a husband, and most what recently I would say is a better listener. Um, Masonry has impacted my life for the good, not to rush things, but to embrace things and work within the means that was given to us. So I have to look that, that is definitely a huge experience in my outside of my life in Masonry that has definitely influenced my approach in life, in leadership in the craft, uh, by listening to what's going on, not jumping to conclusion, and hearing everything that's happening.
Thanks, Boots. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and do this podcast. It's been very entertaining and always interesting to do something I've never done before. So thanks for that. If I was talking directly to the brethren, I think the thing I would say is the thing I've said at the end of most of my leadership journey. I stand up at the end and I really enjoy the last line. It's funny to me and endearing all in the same. And it's if you didn't get anything out of this podcast or you don't want to listen to us talk, that's cool. If you forget everything we said today, no problem. What I want you to do is go out there, call a brother, call a friend, look to the chair beside you if someone's not there. Call a companion, a noble, whatever organization you're in. Make sure you call, check in on the ones that aren't coming out. And if you're having a bad time yourself, make sure you reach out to a brother. Want to make sure you keep coming out. Want to make sure you're around. That's what I say. And why? Because we're better together. We're always better when we work together. So that's what I got to say. Thanks, Boots.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Alberta Freemason podcast. My name is Dave Boutilier, and I've been your host today. This couldn't happen without the wonderful work of our talented editor, Preston Meyer, and with music by the talented Emilio de Mercato. You know the words, so say it with me. Happy to meet, sorry to part. Happy to meet again.